Hi there, this is Team J with our presentation, Systems Thinking, Gun Violence in the U.S. According to the CDC, nearly 35,000 people a year die from firearm-related injuries. About 13,000, a little over one-third of those are from homicides. The south of the U.S. experiences the largest burden of deaths, with several states having a mortality of over 20 per 100,000, but there are also higher prevalences in western states like Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. As you can see from the two graphs above, homicides from shootings are more prevalent in younger demographics, but around age 40, suicide becomes the predominant cause of gun-related death. The graph on the top right shows that the race of those affected roughly mirrors this trend, with young blacks suffering a spike of mortality, and then in later years in life, whites become more affected. And you can get a sense from those graphs and then the bar graph below that black men, despite making up a relatively small proportion of the population, just about 6% actually, are more than 13 times more likely to be shot than white men. You can see from this pretty persuasive graphic that there seems to be an association between the strictness of gun laws and the number of deaths from guns. Hawaii, which has among the lowest number of deaths, requires background checks, permits, and a waiting period, while Arkansas, which has among the highest deaths, requires none of these. You can also see that the U.S. far outstrips other developed countries in homicides from shootings. The rate is 7 times greater than the second leading country, Canada, which perhaps suffers by proximity to the U.S. This again suggests there is some element of laxity in the laws that contributes to gun deaths. Above, we made a causal loop diagram showing the interrelation of several factors on gun violence. If you look at the top two loops on the right, you see that restoring CDC funding for gun research would increase stricter policies for gun ownership. This would increase universal background check laws. This would increase a ban on assault weapons. This would increase licensing requirements. All of these things would have the effect of decreasing gun violence and decreasing gun ownership. And our group supports the restoration of funding to the CDC and enforcement of tighter controls on ownership because we acknowledge that this is a major public health issue. Further, this issue disproportionately affects one part of the population, and intervention in terms of increased funding and laws could greatly increase the health equity for this group.